Hey folks, this is Kelani. Now that patch 815 is finally in our pockets, we can significantly cut the leveling time for the 110 to 120 track. We've been in Battle for Azeroth for quite a while now, over 7 months actually, so it's about time we were able to fast track the rest of our alt army up to max level to take advantage of, well, playing another class, I suppose. The mission boards aren't super crazy this time, and an army of alts probably won't help too much with professions, but at least you can tinker with some other classes now and again whenever you get bored. So what's changed in patch 815 and how can we take advantage of these changes? Let's have a look at how you can level super quickly from 110 to 120. The first thing you're going to need, as always, is some bonus experience. You can find the absolute fastest way to level in the world, but if you aren't cramming every single smidgen of bonus experience into it, it can always be faster. Let's start with heirlooms, because they were recently updated in patch 815. You can now upgrade any and all heirlooms to the current level cap of 120. It's going to cost you another 5,000 gold for each armor piece you upgrade, and 7,500 gold for any weapons you want to upgrade to. That's assuming you have everything up to date, by the way, so this might end up being quite an expensive little endeavour if you've been slacking on your heirlooms. Thankfully, you do have a choice. You can pay with gold, or you can actually use time walking badges to buy the heirloom upgrades instead. Those badges might be worth more or less to you compared to gold, depending on how many you have and whether or not you're interested in the other time walking rewards, so choose wisely. The most important pieces to upgrade would be the ones which give you 10% experience, the head, shoulders, chest and legs. The cloak and rings come after, as they're only 5% each, and then you can look at things like trinkets and weapons. So upgrade everything you can afford and then equip everything on your alt. And just in case you were wondering, yes, heirlooms will still probably be way faster than the higher item level Azrak gear in those specific slots. The amount of bonus experience you get from heirlooms is just so high. The next bonus experience that is reliable and easily obtainable comes from the Warfront vendor. You can find this vendor hanging around your Warfront area, and they sell a potion which provides a 10% boost to experience gains for 5 of the Warfarin Medals. Those are fairly easy to come by if you're actively playing the game on a main character. You will need to purchase these on a main at 120. You can get them from the world quests in the Warfront zones or from the Faction Assault world quests. Your main character might have a few saved up already without you even knowing. 5 per potion is also fairly cheap, and this can cut off quite a good chunk of leveling time if you make good use of it. They say they last for 1 hour, but mine never actually have a duration attached, so it's actually hard to tell if they last for the full hour or if they go beyond it. But either way, pop a potion whenever you're doing some high experience stuff and you'll reap some easy rewards. Don't forget about the experience gem either. This may have been changed to work for only the 110 to 120 grind, so it won't work for levels below 110, but that's all we're interested in for this video. The insightful Rubelite gem provides you with 5% bonus experience, but you're going to need a socket to slot it in somewhere. The easiest source of a socket is to buy a green or blue crafted ring from the auction house. These do require 111 to equip, which is a bit annoying, but if you don't have another socket to use the gem, then you don't really have too many options left. Pick up a ring, pick up a gem, and you're ready to go. You may have forgotten about it by now, but War Mode is still hanging around too, and it still provides a decent chunk of bonus experience. This will differ depending on your faction. The Alliance typically has 15 to 25% right now, spoiled little buggers, while the Horde is stuck with a measly 10% bonus. But every little helps when it comes to bonus experience. If you're going to be questing a lot or even running island expeditions, the War Mode bonus can give you an extra little kick which can shave off a lot of time in the long run. If you're doing dungeons or instance content, sadly the War Mode bonus won't apply, so keep that in mind. You should also keep an eye out for faction assaults on your map. You can complete these as early as level 110. Each world quest provides you with a decent-ish amount of experience. It's not that much, but the real prize is at the end. Completing the assault will give you an hour-long 10% bonus experience buff, so it's just an extra Warfront potion, but it stacks, and you can only get this once a day or so. So if you see an assault up, go knock out a few world quests to grab that extra buff. And then you should also be watching your calendar. If it's the second week of the month, chances are the Darkmoon Fair is in town. Hop on over to the Darkmoon Isle and ride the new roller coaster or the good old-fashioned merry-go-round to get your Wii buff, which provides you with another 10% bonus experience. Most of these experience bonuses work for all levels. It's just the assaults and the experience gem that doesn't, so you can still take advantage of everything else for leveling up some new allied races if that's your cup of tea. But what kind of things should we be doing to level Kelani? Well, you can quest, you can run dungeons, sign up for island expeditions, or some other lesser known options. But which of these is fastest? Well, that's what I am to figure out. I don't want to run dungeons if that's not the fastest way to level. If there's something better than questing, which doesn't make me want to rip my eyeballs out, I want that one. So questing is still an option, obviously, especially if you're playing on Alliance and you have a crazy war mode bonus right now. Grab yourself the Azeroth Autopilot add-on that will take you through every zone in a really nice, neat and efficient manner, and it practically does everything for you, so you don't really have to think. Complete the quests, get the flight pass, you know the drill. That could be pretty fast, but it depends on you really. How distracted are you going to be? How many times are you going to auto-run AFK into a tree? The usual issues whenever you get questing. It's also a lot of travel time, which just slows down the whole process. So what other options do we have? Island expeditions are a great leveling tool, especially if you have some higher level friends tag along for the adventure. I was bashing out some islands with Nadara in 5 to 8 minutes. It depends on the island map you get, it depends on how lucky you get with spawns and rares, it depends on the other players if you end up with pugs. We had at least one pug in every group, so that could either slow us down or actually speed us up. We clocked in at roughly 6 minutes on average for islands, add on another minute for the downtime in between queues and the waiting time at the start. But what about the gains? What kind of experience can you expect from island expedition farming? With heirlooms, potions, the gem and war mode, so no Darkmoon Fair or faction assault, our rogue was getting just under 200k per island. That's a lot of experience for 6 minutes of your time. This can go either way though. You could spend over 10 minutes on a bad island if your group isn't pulling their weight and you get some bad luck. I think it's still worth it for sure. It's probably faster than questing for the most part, and in patch 815 you are guaranteed to get a pouch of coins. So you get some doubloons every single island without fail, which allows you to work towards the various goodies offered up on the vendor, including toys, pets and mounts. You can also buy the new gear tokens there, which fixed one of the largest problems with leveling via island expeditions: no gear. Now you can gear up as you level up. The only downside is that the gear doesn't scale all that well. It's the same item level as green questing gear, so at 120 it caps out below 290 item level, which really isn't all that high. So, islands are pretty good. What about dungeons? The random dungeon experience reward is over 100k experience by itself, so they have to be fairly decent, right? Well, when we ran through normal dungeons, we were getting about 250k experience. Not too bad. It's a bit more than islands at least, but the time it takes to get through a dungeon can vary quite a bit more. If you're super quick and have a really solid group, you might be looking at 10-minute runs, but they can very quickly turn into 20-minute runs when you have a group that isn't experienced or isn't going all out super quick fast mode. We want that fast mode, that's the point, and it's easier to bring in a handful of people to island expeditions when compared to random normal dungeons. But it can be done, with it taking about twice as long as island expeditions but only giving you about 50k more experience for your time. It's probably not all too worthwhile running dungeons right now. There are some upsides to dungeons though. You get better loot along the way and it helps to break up the monotony of islands, but if you're only interested in speed, dungeons are worse than islands right now from what we gathered. But random BFA normal dungeons are the only dungeons you can use to level from 110 to 120, and this will actually work for any level character high enough to enter time walking dungeons. I know, time walking. Ugh. Forcing us to repeat the mistakes of the past by going through weirdly tuned, strangely laid out and honestly quite outdated dungeons at this point. But the experience, you guys, the experience. Oh my gosh. So this is basically the only way I'm going to be leveling from now on. Our time walking runs took between 10 and 15 minutes, depending on the dungeon we got. I kind of feel like something changed in the scaling somewhere, because we were ploughing through these dungeons. Or maybe Wrath of the Lich King dungeons are just tuned better than some of the other time walking events, but we were soaring through the levels. Each time walking dungeon that we ran gave 500 to 600k experience at levels 110 through 115, sometimes even higher than 600k. way. So you're guaranteed a level every 2 time walking dungeons you run right now, which is an insane leveling pace. That's crazy. It's also really awesome that time walking scales everything, so even if you have pants gear for the most part, you can still heavily contribute and even carry your groups in time walking thanks to the scaling. It does mean you typically have to be a bit more careful when compared to BFA dungeons, but if you have a decent group, you should still be able to destroy these dungeons without a problem. You also get the benefit of gearing up along the way as time walking gear scales to your level, and if you bring along some friends with the same armor type as yourself, they can trade gear to you even if they're max level. So max level friends trading you gear gives you free 365 pieces ready to equip when you hit 120. That should save you quite a bit of gold on crafted gear or a lot of time gearing up via world quests, and lets you skip over the normal and heroic dungeons you'll be doing otherwise. It seems way too good to be true right now. It just ticks every box when it comes to leveling quickly and efficiently. The catch, obviously, is that time walking isn't always available. Thankfully, this first week of 815 is a time walking week. So I'll be leveling every single alt that I've been saving for the heirloom upgrades this week. Actually, I might leave 1 or 2 for the Mists of Pandaria time walking event in a month or so, because I do enjoy the Mists of Pandaria dungeons, but it's going to be hard to find a faster leveling path when compared to time walking dungeons right now. Fingers crossed they don't fun detected this one. So if you want to level quickly from 110 to 120, gather up as many bonus experience buffs as you can, heirloom upgrades being the super important one right now, and look out for those time walking events. If you don't have a time walking event active, island expeditions are probably better bang for your buck when compared to random normal BFA dungeons. And that's it for this video. Are you going to take any alts through the time walking leveling up path? What alts are you working on right now? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.